Hello everybody! I know that it's been quite a minute since I posted a video, but this is episode 18 of the Season of Us podcast, and today's video is just gonna be an update of what's been happening for the last 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, I don't even know. It's been a lot. I've been inconsistent. I've been off of all social media really, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about everything. So grab your tea, your coffee, your water, literally anything that you want to get, and let's just get started. Okay, so let's just rewind 2 months from now. I was in that mentality of what in the world am I doing? You know how like you know, sometimes you catch yourself in a season of your life or like a kind of time in your life where you're like, I know for a fact that what I'm doing right now is not going to be what I want a month from now, 2 months from now, a year from now, but you still do it anyways because you're just like, okay, well at least for the meantime, this is what my life's going to look like, right? And first thing that happened was I was at a point where I was like, you know what, I need a new job. Like if I'm just being real with you guys, I need a new job because one, I was already so used to the job that I had. I was used to how to do everything. I knew how to do everything. I kind of accomplished what I wanted to accomplish with that job. So every day after that, I was just working to work. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but I personally love a challenge in a job because I liked to constantly be growing and evolving and, you know, learning how to do new things. And in this job, I just wasn't doing that. I would just show up, do nothing, take advantage of the fact that I had seniority. So like I would come in late, I would clock out early. Like I literally was doing things that you shouldn't be doing and that I normally as an individual wouldn't do because I, you know, care for my job and what's bringing in my income and keeping me financially stable. But because I would do that, my hours were shorter. Obviously my paychecks weren't as amazing, and I just got into that mindset of like, okay, what is next? Like what the heck do I do next? Do I go to college? Do I move to a different state? Do I sell my lease again and like move again? Like I was just so confused, and at one point I was gonna move from here and then I didn't, and it's just one of those days or one of those weeks or one of those times where you just start to think about everything and you start to question what the heck you're doing with your life, right? And finally, my sister's boyfriend, you know, introduced us to this job that was going to help me out financially. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to just, you know, work this job for however long that I need to. And, you know, that's it. That's my next step for now. And that gave me like some kind of ease because I was like, okay, like at least I have an idea of what I want to do next, what's going to help me out, what's things that I'm struggling with right now. But when I tell you guys, this job is the most tiring experience that I've ever had. Now, mind you, I've never had a labor job. I've never had a job where like I physically had to be in shape. I physically had to have that like momentum to keep up with the work for like 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. I've never had that. I've had very simple jobs like, you know, being a barista or being a stylist at a clothing store or I don't even remember any of my other jobs right now, but I've been very, you know, I just lost my train of thought. What is that word? Just very fortunate enough to have jobs that just kind of, you know, they're easy. And at the moment, like when you work a job and you've never worked a harder job, you're like, oh, like it's like just a regular job that I do every single day. But when I tell you guys, I am so tired. I am so tired every single day. I just want to take naps all the time. I don't really have time for a social life right now, so that's hence why I haven't really been posting on social media. I haven't been doing my, you know, my daily TikToks. I haven't been going out. Like I literally just work. Now, at one point in my life, I would say I don't want my whole entire life to just be working, but right now, in this moment, I do need to have my priorities straight, and that is getting financially stable again. Well, I mean, see, that's where this conversation kind of like is a little wonky because I am financially stable, but I would like to be more financially stable to the point where I never have to stress about money again, right? Anyways, point is, I've been working my butt off. This job is absolutely not my favorite job in the world, but the kind of excitement of, oh, like I want to push myself to prove that I can do it of this job makes this job that much better. The reason I'm not really saying what it is because I see that people don't really post stuff about like where they work, but I will tell you it is a labor job. It is a very intense job where you're constantly, like, for 10 hours straight you're moving, you don't stop, and which is so out of the normal for me because I'm used to being a stylist where you know every now and then there'll be like an hour or two of a rush, and then afterwards I'm just chilling, folding clothes, doing like the basics, and I would complain about that. So I'm just giving you guys perspective of where I was and where I am now. But this job, although it's physically draining, it has taught me so much mentally. Like, I didn't realize, because I always preach about how you can do whatever you want as long as mentally, or as long as you believe that you can, right? It's all mental. Like, our brains as humans are so incredibly strong. It blows my mind. But having this job really put that to the test of how strong mentally am I? Like, could I walk into this job every single day and say, I can do this? I'm going to do it, even if it's a little bit harder for me in the beginning, but I'm going to keep going. And I'm telling you, I've only been at this job for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And there's days I go in and I'm like on, like, what do they say? Like XK mode or whatever the heck that is. And I am like on it. I'm like, going super fast. Or at least I feel like I'm going super fast. I'm getting all the orders in. I'm doing all the stuff. And I'm like super excited because I'm like, oh, today's like such a good day. And then the next day, literally the next day, I wake up in the morning. I am so tired because I'm waking up earlier than I've ever had to wake up ever in my life. And I'm just not in the mood. All of my things that I'm doing for work aren't working out the way that they should be working out. Everyone's telling me to do better and like go faster, and I'm just like so stressed out. But it's like, I love the challenge because obviously, you need to be physically capable to do a job like this, but mentally I have to remind myself, okay, Daisy, like, are you gonna give up now? Like, you just started stuff. You haven't even made it a month and you want to quit? You've never had a job like this. You've always had like very simple, accommodating jobs, but now that you finally have experience of one hard job, you're gonna quit. And like the voice inside my head is just like, girl, what? Like, are you kidding me? And this is just kind of, I don't really know why I'm telling you guys this. This is just kind of like an update of my life and my experiences and just everything in general that's been happening in the last 2 months. Actually not even 2 months. It's been a while. Like, I've just been doing my own thing. I've been on and off with like, oh, this is what I want to do with my life. This is what I want to do with my life. And unfortunately, when that happens, I stray away from podcasts because I'm like, what the heck do I talk about? What the heck am I going to say to these people when I don't even know what the heck I'm doing with my life? And, if you're younger or older, it doesn't really matter what age you are, but if you're younger, you understand when people say like, oh, like you're barely 21, you have your whole life ahead of you, like, don't even worry about it, like, just like do your own thing, have fun, experience life, whatever, right? And I believe that to an extent. Like, obviously I'm so young, I can be doing anything. I can be traveling the world, I can be, going out and partying and going crazy and living my best life. But I think that I just don't think like your average 21-year-old, because I think about everything. I think about, okay, the decision that I'm making right now, how is that going to affect me in 5 years? The job that I have right now, is it actually going to make me financially stable so that I will be able to do what I really want to do later on in the line, later on in life? I don't know. Sometimes I'm going to say that just don't make any sense, but I think about everything. Or even in relationships, I'll be like, okay, is this person really somebody that I will want in my life when I hit this point? When I succeed at this point? Like, are they beneficial to me? And I know, that might sound a little selfish, but if you are with somebody who is not benefiting you in any sense, why are you with them? Like, love can only take you so far. And now that I'm mentioning that, I'm gonna kind of transition into another big factor of what's been happening in my life. So for the last 4 months, I have been seeing this guy, and things were going great. Everything was amazing. He was buying me flowers. He'll buy me flowers every now and then to just restock the ones that he gave me a week ago or whatever. And we were doing good. Like, I was finally, like, putting down my walls. I was like, you know what, like, this guy's actually, like, really good. Like, he does things that, like, people post on TikTok, like buy me flowers or take me on dates or, make me feel like I'm super special. And when I tell you the honeymoon phase literally lasted probably like a week, I mean that to like the max. And here's the thing. I don't want to say that this whole experience was bad, because obviously there's good times. I wouldn't have stayed if there wasn't. But it's this thing where, well, first and foremost, I want to say a woman's intuition is the most powerful thing. I don't care what anybody says. Women know everything. Like, you just know, your body tells you before it even happens. And so with this specific individual, I always knew there was a chance that something would go wrong. And now you could say, okay, Daisy, that can happen in any relationship. Like, not most relationships don't even work out. That's the point of dating. But like, I just knew that something was gonna happen that was gonna make me upset, and we just wouldn't work out, right? But month 1 went past, a couple arguments in there. Month 2 went past, little things were kind of suspicious, and I'm just like, like, what's going on? Month 3 passed, and I'm like, okay, like, why does it feel like this? See, I'm a huge believer in, when you find somebody who genuinely is going to be someone good for you, you'll know. Like, you'll be able to feel just that connection with that person. You'll be able to just not have all your fears in the world go away, but just find that comfort in them, that they're someone that's going to benefit your life rather than make it a little wonky. But yeah, I was seeing him for a few months, and I was very private about it. I didn't really want anyone in my business. I didn't really want people to ask me questions about him. Like, I just wanted to see, okay, is this actually going to work out? Because I just don't want to waste my time again. And I say again because I don't know, like, there's probably people that have had good experiences with dating apps, but I have not. I really have not. All 3 times, like, here's the thing. I've been single for a long time, guys. Well, not a long time, but I've been single for a decent amount of time. I think I'm hitting, let's see, 2020 to 2021, 2021, 2022, like, probably like 2 years and a half, right? 2.5 years. And with that amount of time, I've only really seen 3 people that I would say I would have loved to have a future with them. Because I'm not closed off, but I'm very observant, and I'm very cautious of what I do need in my life and what I don't need in my life. Which, even with all that and all my good mental space and all that, I still happen to choose people that aren't the right people, and that's okay. It's okay. You live and you learn, and as long as you don't repeat, then we're all good. But back to the story. This guy had good things about him. You can definitely tell that he needed some healing, and he needed some work mentally, and just to mature and understand that life isn't all about, the superficial idea of it. And it's funny because there's certain things that this person would do that before I met him, I'd always be like, I will never date a person that does this. I will never date a person that does this. I will never do that. I'll never do that, right? You say all these things, but then you meet this person and you're like, well, like, I mean, he does that, but he also does this. And I'm being very vague just because I don't really want to expose, certain things that are just more of a me and him conversation, me and him business. But I found myself accepting things that I would have never accepted before. And in terms of my intuition, I would always just, like, whenever I would have my own time, like, to myself, I'd always just be like, like, Daisy, like, this isn't gonna work out. That just there's too many inconsistencies, and there's too many red flags, and there's too many things that are triggering you. So why are you staying? But I let it, I let it ride. I like let it ride, or whatever the heck you say. And I was just there, I was consistent. I treated him really well. I did all the girlfriend things that you can think of. Like when I love somebody and when I really care about somebody, I go all out for you. Like ask anybody in my life. Like I'm just that person. I don't care how many times I get hurt. I don't care, what I've experienced in my life. I never want to be that person that I've been hurt so many times that I just close myself off to the world. Like, yes, it hurts so bad to be hurt, but my passion in this life is just to be loving and to show that love to people, because you never know what people are going through. And I never want to be that person that somebody experienced and it was in a negative sense. So I was just, so loving. I felt, from what I could say, I felt like I did a lot, both emotionally, mentally, physically. Like I would say I was a very good person to have as a partner. And there's just little things, like little things that would build up that would just anger me. And it would kind of frustrate me because I had just gotten past the phase of my life where I just wasn't really angry anymore. Like I just really wouldn't get frustrated. I wouldn't really yell at anybody. Like I went past that weird part of my life where I was just angry all the time. But as I was with this person, I just started to notice that I was just irritated all the time. I would just get frustrated and insecure and just overwhelmed with like all these emotions that I just worked so hard to avoid as much. And that's when my intuition started kicking in. I was like, Daisy, what are you doing? Like, Daisy, why are you staying with this person if you already know that they're not meant for you? And my intuition is the strongest thing about me. Like, I know things before things happen, which is why I'm so cautious and so observant. And I really am like so in depth when I meet people, because I never want to introduce somebody into my life, in my space, in my bubble, if I know they're going to affect it in a negative way. But what really came down to the reason that I stayed was because, one, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I didn't have any literal proof that he was doing things he shouldn't be doing. But two, I was lonely. Like, if I'm being so honest, I was just lonely. And I was tired of dating people that were not ready for a relationship, but they're grown men who aren't ready for a relationship. And like, I literally had to be like, oh, like you should come and see me, or like we should spend time together, or we should do this, we do that. Like I was like just begging someone to love me. And then this guy comes around, shows me everything, buys me flowers, takes me on dates, treats me like I'm like a princess. And I'm like, there's literally nothing that can get better than this. So obviously I held on to it, which you should not do. But mentally, because it took like those couple of months to get me back to like insecure Daisy, at that point, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to stick it out. I'm just going to see where this goes, and fully knowing that it wasn't going to work out. But I was like, you know what, like, let's just try again. And I just want to say, like, I'm not saying that this experience or this relationship was any kind of, horrible thing where the whole time it was just a mess. Like, there was good moments, and this person, honestly, I believe deep down is a really good person. He just needs a lot of maturing, a lot of mental healing, a lot of learning how to express himself, and learning how to be emotional, and learning how to be vulnerable. Because when you get to that point, then you're able to actually open up to somebody and actually believe that somebody can love you. So I genuinely have no hard feelings towards this person. Even though, like, he did do me dirty, and I've never experienced this before. Because I'm such an empath, I understand why mentally he was at that point. But fast forward to now, the reason that we ended things was because I found out that he wasn't only talking to me. And at first it hurt a little bit, not so much because the relationship was ending, but more so because I was frustrated with myself because I let it get to that point. Like, I fully knew that something was wrong, and I fully had that gut feeling of like, this isn't gonna work out, and I ignored it. And I ignored it so much so that I stopped doing things that I normally do. Like, before we ended things, I didn't remember the last time that I took the time to do personal development and to write in my journal and to do gratitude and to wake up in the morning and go to the park and just like breathe. Or I don't remember the last time I posted a podcast because I had nothing to speak on. Because I was like, Daisy, you're literally living a life that you're telling, you like people that watch these videos not to do. So how am I supposed to get on here and be like, this is what you should do and this is how you should love yourself when I'm doing the exact opposite? And I'm not too hard on myself because, this happens. Like, nobody's perfect. Everybody goes to situations that they know they probably shouldn't go through. Or, some people might go through the same situation that had no idea that this person was talking to other people, but you learn from it. But that's a huge key factor of being in a wrong relationship is when you notice that you're not doing things that you used to do that make you happy. Because I don't care what anybody says, you will not be happy in a relationship if you stop doing things that make you happy. Because yes, when you start dating somebody, you guys, you start to do a lot of things together. You want to be together all the time. Like, you miss them all the time or whatever the case is, right? But you still need that separation of like, you know what, this is me time and this is what I love to do, so I'm going to still do it. And they can still do their thing. But then when you come together, you kind of grow together. You'll enjoy your time even more because you gave yourself that space. But I knew it wasn't going to work out. Things didn't end very pretty. Didn't end very pretty at all. But here we are. And I think that it's just so interesting that the second that we end things, I'm back on my routine. Like, it was kind of like a relief because I was like, you know what? Like, what happened to Daisy? Like, I wasn't as just excited all the time. I wasn't as happy all the time. I wasn't, constantly looking for a way to grow. And I'm going to just put it out there. Like, it's not because of him. Like, nowhere in that situation was he the one saying like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, or you shouldn't do this or do that. None of that. I made that choice to stop my personal development. I made that choice to stop the self-love. Because in that time, I thought I'd rather spend time with him. And a part of me, that insecurity came out because I was like, ugh, if I don't spend enough time with him, he's going to find someone else to spend time with. And it all comes down to that intuition, gut feeling of this person is most likely seeing other people or talking to other people. But I just didn't care because I was like, well, at least they're here with me now. Which is so bad to think. Especially because if you know me, I'm always talking about, like, I would never put up with something like that. And I didn't. I stayed being a little bit like what's going on? Because I didn't know. I didn't know that was actually going to happen. But the second that I found out that I wasn't the only one, you better believe I was done. Because even though I did sway away from like personal development and like learning to love myself, I still have my boundaries. And he crossed them. And now I'm at a point where I'm just like, you know what? I have this new, incredibly difficult job, but I'm consistent in it. I'm back to self-love. I don't really go out. I don't really socialize as much, but I'm really, really in a spot of just me. And it might sound bad, but I'm so excited. Like, I'm so excited for it to just be me. Like, today I woke up this morning and I woke up to myself and I was just so happy. Like, I love my personal space and I don't know why I was so willing to give that up. I'm gonna tell you guys, whoever is watching this video, you will know when someone's meant for you and when someone's not. You just do. And I know a lot of people aren't really in tune with their intuition, and that's okay. But our bodies will always let us know when you're doing something right and when you're just doing something wrong. And I know that life gets lonely. I know it gets so lonely. And trust me, I've had people tell me, I've only kept you around because I was lonely, basically. And that sucked. Like, that really sucked. But then I started to realize there are so many people, especially in this generation, that are just so desperate for attention, but they're too scared to commit. So they will just be okay with staying with somebody just because they're there. Now, really, if you look at it, I don't really blame anybody, because a lot of us grew up seeing our parents get a divorce, seeing our parents yell at each other, abuse each other, whatever the situation is. So naturally, growing up and becoming adults, the last thing you want is to get into a relationship that could potentially turn into that. At least for me, I'm speaking for myself, but there might be people out there that can agree. But then you start to test the waters and start dating and start meeting all these amazing people, and then they do things that make the situation not so amazing, and that makes you even more closed off, because you're like, oh, like, I tried, but so-and-so wasn't ready for a relationship. I mean, I tried, but so-and-so just didn't want to give me the time of day. I mean, I tried, but they showed me that they loved me physically and emotionally and whatever, but really at the end of the day, they wanted to see other people because they wanted to see what else was out there. So then that leaves you at this point where you're just like, oh, is it even worth it? Is it even worth it to meet another person, get to know what their favorite things are, their dislikes, their likes, and really just go from square one again to only potentially get hurt again? So I get it. I get why everyone's so closed off. But then it's like, how is anyone ever going to find love, or how is anyone going to ever commit into a relationship if nobody is willing to just take the time to actually get to know somebody and be vulnerable with somebody and just, be okay with maybe potentially getting into a relationship? But it's obviously easier said than done. There's a lot of situations that are way worse than what I just expressed to you guys. But just know that you always know what's right from wrong. And you know you do. You know you do. You might not always listen. You might not always choose the right answer, but you know. And so, although I don't feel like I wasted the last 4 months of my life, I do feel like I could have done better. I could have listened to myself more. I could have practiced way more personal development. I could have just stayed in my own lane and valued my space and my time enough that I didn't have to experience this situation. But we live and we learn. And I would tell you right now, that experience will never happen to me again. Because I know where I stand. It just took me a minute to find that again. So if you're watching this and you're in the same boat as me, don't see it as a, man, I lost this person and now I don't know what to do with my life and now I'm alone again. See it as I get to be by myself again. I get to do things that I want to do because I love to do them, and I don't have to explain myself to anybody. I get to go to places and experience new people and do whatever the heck that I need to do because I can and I will. Now, this video was a little long. It honestly was just a huge update of what Daisy has been up to for the last few months. It's kind of a little crazy, kind of a blessing in disguise, but I'm not too mad about it. And I'll be way more consistent with everything now because I need to stop making excuses for as to why I stopped making these episodes or for as to why I stopped doing personal development. It all comes down to me deciding to stray away from it. And I'm so done with that. But hopefully you guys liked my little Daisy update. this is the end of episode 18, and I will definitely see you guys next week.